A life stolen. Sonya Massey and the fatal encounter. Sonya Massey was a daughter, a sister, a friend. She had dreams, aspirations, a life brimming with potential. All that was stolen on a day that began like any other but ended in unimaginable tragedy. Officer Sean Grayson, a man sworn to protect and serve, arrived at her doorstep, a harbinger of death disguised in blue. The details of the encounter is displayed on the officer's body camera, but yet, shrouded in the self-serving narratives of law enforcement. Yet one thing is clear, Sonya Massey, an unarmed black woman, posed no threat, yet she became another hashtag, another name added to the ever-growing list of black lives lost to police brutality. Sonya's story is not unique, it's a recurring nightmare that haunts black communities across America. The fear, the vulnerability, the knowledge that their skin color alone marks them as targets, this is the reality of being black in a nation built on white supremacy. We must ask ourselves, how many more Sonya Masseys will it take before we dismantle this system that devours black lives with impunity? How many more families must be shattered before we say enough is enough? The blue threat, fear and vulnerability in the face of power. The encounter with Officer Grayson was likely laced with terror for Sonya. Imagine the feeling of dread, the pounding heart, the knowledge that one wrong move, one misunderstood gesture, could have fatal consequences. For a black person, interacting with law enforcement is often fraught with anxiety, a feeling deeply rooted in the history of this nation. This fear is not paranoia, it's a rational response to a system that has consistently treated black bodies as disposable. The legacy of slavery, Jim Crow, and mass incarceration casts a long shadow, and the presence of a police officer, often armed and empowered to use lethal force, triggers this historical trauma. This fear is not unique to Sonya. It's a shared experience woven into the fabric of black life in America. Unjustified force deconstructing a tragedy, exposing a lie. The official narrative, as always, will attempt to justify the unjustifiable. They will paint Sonya as a threat, a danger to the officer's safety, in which she was not. They will twist the narrative, manipulate the facts, and demonize the victim to protect the perpetrator. We've seen this script play out time and time again, but we must not allow ourselves to be numbed by the repetition, desensitized by the constant barrage of black death. We must demand answers, we must dissect the lies and expose the truth. We must challenge the official narrative and amplify the voices of those who have been silenced. Sonya's life mattered, and her death, like so many others, was a preventable tragedy, a brutal act of violence fueled by racism and impunity. We owe it to her memory, to her family, and to ourselves to fight for justice. Section 4. A system of impunity, Sean Grayson and the badge of injustice. Sean Grayson is not an anomaly. He is a product of a system designed to protect its own. A system where accountability is a foreign concept, where qualified immunity shields officers from the consequences of their actions. This lack of accountability breeds a culture of impunity, emboldening officers to act with reckless disregard for black lives. Grayson's history, we can be sure, is not spotless. A deeper look into his past will likely reveal a pattern of aggression, a disregard for protocol, a history of complaints ignored and swept under the rug. This is the system we are up against, a system that protects and enables officers like Grayson, allowing them to operate with impunity, their violence sanctioned by the very institutions sworn to uphold justice. Section 5. Justice denied. Where is the accountability? Where is the change? Protests and picketing are not enough. We've marched, we've rallied, we've raised our voices in unison, yet the killings continue. Sonya's death, like so many others, underscores the urgent need for systemic change, for a complete overhaul of a system that is inherently biased against black and brown bodies. We need concrete action. We need police reform that goes beyond cosmetic changes. We need to demilitarize the police, to end qualified immunity, to establish independent investigations of police shootings, and to hold officers accountable for their actions. We need to invest in communities, in education, in job creation, in mental health services. We need to address the root causes of crime and poverty, rather than resorting to violence and incarceration. The time for platitudes and empty promises is over. The time for action is now.